Australia, US, construction management, Australia. Okay.
This call is now being recorded.
Okay. Thank you. So I think, okay, guys, thank you for your answer. So let's start the session straight away. I think that's what Danishi, I cannot decide for you individually. So the agenda of today's session is to sort of give you pointers that will let you do further research and understand what are its own edge. So first thing, there are a lot of complexities in deciding, personally on what is better for each of you. So let's get in there. Just about to share my screen, and I'll run you through the pros and cons of each country according to our own experience. Maybe then we can obviously get into the Q&A at the end, and I would be happy to maybe explain or discuss a bit further if you still have doubts. Right. So I'm just doing a presentation. I hope you guys can see it full screen. Thank you. So guys, so we are here today to do a live session on. Okay, that's really great. Thank you. So US versus UK versus Canada versus Australia. Typically, this is a very common query that I've seen in quite a few students, but some of them are pretty clear of which country they want to go for different reasons. So today's agenda is more in the lines of giving some pointers which are positives are slightly things to look at or maybe careful about a particular country so that you can use it in your judgment to decide the country. Right. So talking about myself, I'm Jaydeep, one of the founders of Ubergrad. And also you have Ravindra, the other founder of Ubergrad. Both of us come from BITS Pilani and IM background. So we've started this company to make it more easier and more technology driven and data driven approach towards the study abroad process. So that's about us. So we do help end to end. If some of you might be knowing about our IELTS classes, GRE classes that we do online every day, Duolingo classes. We have algorithms that we built to give university shortlisting. Our teams are giving you SOPs and LORs, at least the silver and gold members. We help with applications. We pass on the waiver benefits. We do follow up with our universities and help you with the visa application and process. We also have more than 10 plus lenders, and also we are doing a loan mailer this Saturday. The coming Saturday is a loan mailer where we are talking, or rather, we're getting 10 plus lenders: ICICI Bank, IDFC Bank, Axis Bank, Bank of Baroda, HDFC Credila, Incred, Oxiro, etc., who are all going to talk to the students, talking about their own loan products. And then we're also doing one-on-one sessions so that you can get your doubts cleared. So that's something you can all get benefited from. You'll get an update on the sign up. You can also sign up for that. Cool. So yeah, this is about our experience so far and so far. That okay. So today, as the topic is about the big four countries: US, UK, Canada, Australia. We call them big four, big Anglo four countries, the English speaking countries. So we're gonna talk about what is that, why are they big four countries. Then this each country I'm gonna go a little deeper into it, and at the end I'm gonna do a quick comparison of what is the plus minus in each key aspect according to us, and then we can keep ourselves open for Q&A and clear your doubts. Right. Uh, so how is this global student mobility? As in, when I say global student mobility, people who move from their home country to an international destination to pursue their higher education. Right. So that's what the global student mobility basically means. So if you look at this, the global, as in all the people across the world are moving, an approximate number of 5 million students, which is talking about 50 lakh students. United States constitutes around 10 lakhs, right, as you can see here, which is making around one fifth of 50 lakhs. One fifth of it is this. Then you have next the Canada, which I mean UK and Canada are almost there, which are doing almost 11 to 13%, which are doing 5 to 6 lakhs, right? So I'm just putting a rounded figure, and then Australia comes the next place, which is doing around 4 lakhs. So if you look at all of them together, they do almost a 50%. So people also go to Germany, people go to UAE, the Middle East, people go to Ukraine, Russia, China for medical purpose, all of the other courses also. But these big four countries itself make up almost a 50 percentage of the total population. Around 200 odd countries is where people go for their higher education from India. So I mean from different student mobility. Sorry, if I extrapolated to Indian students alone, we are still seeing something very similar. United States, almost 2 lakh people go for it. Canada, almost 2 lakh. Canada is a smaller, it's only 6 lakhs, but you see a big section of Indian students going to Canada. That's a huge increase for that. You have United Kingdom, Australia, And as I told you, all of these together are coming out to be again almost a 50% of Indian students. So we have almost 12 lakh students who go abroad every year. Out of that, almost 6 lakhs come from these four countries itself. So that's the reason why we are discussing on these four countries only over a lot of other countries that people are looking to go for as well, because these are the most what do you call it, lucrative or exciting destinations and popular destinations. There's a reason for them, and we're going to talk about that. So let's get into the US part. So I'm going to do run through all the countries. So if you're interested in a particular country, don't worry. I'm anyways going to talk about all of them. So you'll get more clarity on, what is the comparison if you hear through all of them. So what's the biggest advantage of USA? Anyone? Like, what do you think is the reason why USA is seeing the highest, population of international students across the world, as I've shown already? What do you think could be the reason why? Salary, fair enough, Kumaran. What else? Top universities, the culture, fairly the points that big giant MNCs, that's sort of good career opportunities. I can translate that into great for us. So more or less, I think best technology. Yeah, that's also state of art. Research facilities and technology. Not necessarily engineering technology. Could also be sciences, life sciences, right? Pharmacy, a lot of other stuff also. Great. So we're going to talk about that only. So first one, I'm just going to back with more data or more examples to show what you guys have posted in a way. The first part. So this is these are the top four ranking agencies of universities across the world. Okay. So the US News, the QS World Rankings, the Time Higher Education World Rankings, and Shanghai, which is the ARW academic ranking of world universities. So they have ranked around 1600, 1700 universities, 1300, 2000, 1000 as per their own ranking rules. You will see that USA has the highest number. The closest second is UK, but you see that disparity or the difference. That's the amount of difference in any ranking. Okay, maybe Times Higher Education got very similar. The reason is because they have the highest number of universities that they're ranking. So that's why UK also got a good number of universities. But across all the four top ranking agencies, you will see an unparalleled or rather top-notch list of universities exclusively coming from United States. That's one reason why I would say US offers you top quality of education. So that sort of makes it worthy of actually looking at USA as a good destination for your higher education, because good quality of education is not just for learning purpose, which is obviously a great thing to do, but it is appreciated and respected across the world. Let's say you come back to India or you go for some other, like Canada has a different visa rule for someone who has done their masters and worked in US for a few years. So they do have an express entry, slightly different rule, which sort of lets you get into more easier than doing your, applying directly for Canada, for example. So USA Masters is obviously the most respected across the world, even outside USA. I'm talking about. And looking at India, right, just for comparison, I put it, you'll see that limited number of universities which are ranked, globally. And that's I'm not putting down. It's just we are growing. We are growing year on year. So maybe a few years down the line, I believe we could also stand out among the other country universities. Uh, that's one reason why I prefer people to look at USA. Number two is this assistantships, right? This is again, you can think it as a campus jobs. It's not a very very common thing, or rather the abundance of it. First of all, you don't see it across the world. UK, Canada, like in general, Europe does not have a strong culture of assistantships or campus jobs, I would say, right? Teaching assistant, research assistant, graduate assistant, where you will be paid a good chunk of amount. Like as a TRRA, you will be getting paid around $15 per hour, and you will be earning more than enough to sustain your living expenses per month. On top of it, you'll also get some academic scholarships and all, which would save your tuition fee also. This is a culture that you would see hugely popular in US. I haven't seen that in other countries. They are there. I'm not saying they're absolutely not there, but it is to a very limited level compared to USA, not even close to what we observe in USA. Yes, people go out for outside the campus for jobs, part-time jobs. I'm not denying that, but I'm talking more at that teaching assistantships and research assistantships, which help you to improve your own technical skill or whatever the subject matter expertise, get paid, plus also get an opportunity to get scholarships, right? Which is a win-win in all directions for a student. The third one is the better opportunities and salaries. That's what some of you said, right? I will show these average salaries We did a session earlier also. You will clearly see that you cannot. I'm just talking about average figure. I'm not saying the top salary offer in Canada or UK wouldn't be bigger than an average in US. But if you just absolutely take an average figure, I think the best salary you can get in the world is in USA for an average any most of the roles, right? Be it a developer, be it an analyst into analytics, be it into an MIS information systems manager, or you're talking about being a finance guy or any other management specialization, supply chain, right? Operations and stuff. Healthcare professionals, especially pharmacists, get paid heavily in USA. That's one of the highest paid jobs. Even the public health professionals. I've just taken civil engineering, but core engineering, electrical, right? Civil, mechanical. You'll get paid one of the highest salaries on average. I'm talking about, right? So that's something that sort of also, as one of you have said, the reason is because you have the Fortune 500 companies that are the top 500 companies in terms of market cap or valuation. You have maximum number of them coming out of US. You have FANGs, all of them are based out of USA, right? So technically, the companies are state of the art companies. They have the money in their hands. They have huge revenues. They can buy out the top people by paying them top notch salary. So that's bound to happen, that the average salaries and the number of opportunities are always higher. They will be the best in class for sure. So that's something that's again an highlight or advantage of doing your masters or going for your higher education in USA. Then, as one of you said, the culture aspect. So, see, the reason why the big four are US, UK, Australia, Canada is fundamentally because of English, first of all, right? Why are people not going to China or maybe, for example, Korea or even Europe for that matter, right? Is simply that it's not easy for a non-local to settle down with respect to the culture and the language. We as Indians have more comfort with English because that's our medium of instruction from childhood. So somehow, because of the British rule, we are sort of, not into European culture, but rather more into the culture of English as the fundamental language of communication in professional or academic world. So that sort of helped us to move to these countries which are Anglo or English speaking destinations. And over years, we have pulled a huge list of, Indians or immigrants into USA. We are almost like a small minority group, obviously in USA. That's not really an undermined, community in USA. It's fairly respected, and obviously in that higher income bracket, because Indians who are immigrants in US are ideally well educated and got good jobs in them. Otherwise, they cannot survive there. So which leads to giving you a good top notch Indian immigrants there. Also, that's India is number one and number two every year, competing with China for the number of international students. This was in 2018-19 data, but in the recent COVID times, it's head on head, neck to neck. So almost sometimes India is beating China on the number of international students going to US in a year. So all things considered, so you'll find Indians much more easy in US, for example, now Canada also, UK also, Australia also to an extent than a lot of the other countries, which makes it easy for you to settle down. Right? When I say settle down, as in don't feel like you are in a very odd place or a new place. Culturally, it doesn't. It sounds like a little bit childish for some of you, but I can tell you there are people who felt depression, who couldn't bear that difference in culture and couldn't really sustain their life over there. Even the rest of the things are good for them. So it is something that I would say you can consider. But this is true for all the other countries also. I'm not denying that. Just saying as one advantage of USA. What are the popular specializations in USA? Right, where obviously this is based on some numbers I'm talking about, which is again what aligns with what I believe and what you generally understand also. Typically, the most in demand is computer science subjects, right? Computer science, software engineering, IT, data science, AI, ML, etc. Engineering technically talks about electrical, computer engineering, mechanical, civil, chemical, biotechnology, aerospace, mechatronics, robotics, a lot of other core engineering subjects. Then you have this business and management. You will see almost, if I'm talking about 10 lakh students are going from India, 20%, 20%, and then 15% of them. So almost 50% of them are going for these three courses, right? So that's technically business and management. Huge influx will be more in the analytics domain, I would say. Right. The reason for that is it's a STEM course, it's a technical subject, and people can really get good jobs with that skill set. If you build it, it has huge demand and the opportunity. So on top of it, people do marketing, people do operations, supply chain, logistics, and stuff like that, product management. That's about the business part. The healthcare and life sciences are talking about, be it biomedical engineering or life sciences, talking about pharmacy, public health. That's again fairly a 10% of people that you're talking about, right? So these are almost 50% of students. Then the others must be going for arts, literature, could be about basic sciences, could be for chemistry, maths, agriculture science, education, political science, social sciences, and stuff like that, which is the other 50% of the students. If you talk about the visa part, which is an important aspect that I want you to understand about US, is this that typically you get a 2 year steady F1 visa. Typically, they would say, okay, you are doing most of the masters in USA are for 2 years, so that's bound to happen that you'll get this. Plus, they will give you an extra year of OPT, an optional thing, right? This is common for everyone. Okay, OPT is given as optional practical training. That is, they expect you to do some study, then also spend some time to get some experience by working in USA. Is what that rule is basically. If you do a STEM course, right? What is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So not all the management subjects are STEM. So I would insist on people, unless you have a strong reason, like I have huge influx of money with me, so I don't care the risk. Number two, that I really have passion for this subject, that I will take it do or die. I will not do something else. If you are choosing a program or a university, it's a STEM course that you are choosing purely because it gives you an extra 2 years of relaxing period to stay in USA to look for a job. So you will study for 2 years. Let's say generally some people do in 1 year, 1.5 years also. Let's take an ideal normal scenario. Then you are given by default 1 year of OPT to stay back there and work. After that, you are expected to leave America. That's the expectation if you don't extend your OPT. And the extend OPT happens only if you are a STEM candidate. If you are non-STEM, then ideally you should straight away jump into applying for H1B. See, H1B, if you get a job immediately as company sponsors you for H1B, that's a lottery system. Okay, you have, I would say, 60-65% of chance to get picked if you have some basics in place. That's around a percentage, approximate percentage of getting your H1B picked. But if you are doing it once, right, because you only have 1 year of OPT, that means you only get one chance. If you are a non-STEM candidate, there is a huge risk that you might not get your visa picked, or rather for H1B, which means you will be asked to leave USA. So ideally, that's why people go for STEM. That means you have 2 years of study plus 1 plus 2. That's basically 3 years of post-study work visa, which gives you enough chance. That means if you get job right out of college, you have 3 years to try for H1B. You got rejected first year, try second year. You got rejected, try for third year. That's fairly a foolproof way that you will not get, you will not miss out on it, because 3 attempts, the probability will be close to 90-95% that your H1B should be picked over 3 years. Once I get H1B picked, so they give for 3 years initially. Then again, you have to ask for an extension if you have a job in hand and all of that. They would have that rules, obviously, that you should not be jobless. They will extend for 3 more years, and then you should have enough time to get for the green card process. You'll not get the green card, obviously. That's people right now. I think 2013 people have submitted the green card application in 2013 is the year I think it's going on in USA now. It's almost 10 years back, right? Obviously, people who have applied in 14, 15, 16 are yet to get their green card. So it will take time, but you'll not have a problem with staying in the country as long as you have job and things in place. Slowly you'll get. That's the biggest challenge in US. That green card is a long queue that is there, that it makes you to wait. That's because the worst part, I would say, in terms of settling down in USA. But typically they'll give you enough time, as in if you get for a STEM course, you get 3 years post-study work visa. That should be fairly long enough for you to get a job and try your luck for H1B, and most of the people would get it. Even if not, people have an option to go to Canada. As I said, US has a very respected degree across the world, so you get enough opportunities outside US also to make sure you have a good career post that. So what are the disadvantages when I talk about USA, right? So because of so many good things that I've discussed so far, I have seen that it's huge and highly competitive, right? The competition is very huge for US. Somehow they have a strong preference towards a 4 year undergraduate. When I say strong preference, most of the universities are accepting 3 year degrees also. As in, let's say I've done a BCom in India, which is a 3 year degree, a BBA. Not every university in USA accepts it, right? Almost 50-60% are accepting in the recent times. The other half are not accepting. Every university accepts a 4 year undergrad degree, that like a BTech, for example. Or if you do more than that, physiotherapy, which is for 5.5 BDS, so you are still eligible for it. So that's one disadvantage if by chance you have done a 3 year degree. Then since the competition is very high, obviously you also have to have good scores. Like US is the only country with a high request, or rather maximum number of universities asking for GRE or GMAT based on the program. Used to be almost close to 100% pre-COVID. Since COVID, maybe I would say 40 to 45% of universities have waived off GRE at this point of time. Slowly, I'm seeing the trend where universities are starting to ask for GRE. They're increasingly asking for it. Maybe 5 years, 4, 5 years down the line, you might get it down to 10, 20%. As in, most of the universities would again ask you back to get your GRE. But as of now, I think 50-50. You can skip this, but you have to score well in your English proficiency also. And on top of it, just getting admit doesn't suffice. You need to clear through the visa process. If you look at last 2-3 years of data points of US embassy, they're saying they are accepting only around 60 to 70% of students. The rest are getting rejected. Right. Rejections can be for multiple reasons, not being a good university, your profile not being satisfactory for them, even though you have a decent admit. Your financials are not clear enough for them to give confidence that you would really, can fund yourself and not being an false immigrant, stuff like that. So it's not that easy. There's an amount of luck involved. And I've seen fairly good candidates also who got rejected, got to try again and get it cleared after next time. So that's part of the process, which is high competition means there are a lot of people coming in, so they are being super selective and sort of being strict towards selecting the people. The other part is budget again, compared to all of the countries that we have seen so far. I think USA comes first and Australia is close to that. So this is an average thing I'm talking about per year. So if you're doing a 2 year degree, I can say average 30 to 60 lakhs is what you should expect for your tuition fee for 2 year course. Living expenses per year is 10 to 15 lakhs. So it all depends on which city you are living in, how exactly are you living in. But you can do with a minimal of 10 to 15 lakhs. And I can confidently tell you that if you have the willingness to work hard with any part-time job, even outside the campus, you can fund this yourself, right? You have enough sources to get this. In the recent times, I'm hearing from the students who have gone for US, Canada, also UK, also the recession is sort of not in a good shape, or rather, recession is being seen or observed decent numbers in these countries. So that leads to people not getting a lot of campus or rather outside campus opportunities in abundance. So it's also part of cycle. I would say people, if you go for this year or next year, by the time you graduate, the market would be booming for the jobs, and that sort of leads, gives you in a good position to get a job immediately. That's also a pro. So there are pros and cons for that. But yeah, I think I can still tell you, you can find some part-time job. You can fund your living expenses, but tuition fees is going to be on the higher side compared to all the other countries that we're going to talk about. Right, that's about the USA part. As I told you, the visa, the request for 4 years has a priority or being good in the exam scores, and the budget being on the higher side is what I would say. Otherwise, US has unlimited opportunities if you have the right willingness and spirit. The lenders are there, they're giving loans even without a co-applicant, without any asset, right? If you have any doubts on the lending part, do attend our coming weeks webinar on loan mela, where you will have enough opportunity to interact with all the leading lenders. You'll also find lenders who are clearly telling you that I don't care how much your parents earn, I don't care how much of assets you hold. All I care is about where you're going, what's your profile, what kind of university and program you're joining, and we are willing to fund you up to 80 lakhs, 1 crore. So that's sort of level where the companies have come up as lenders. So you should ideally not put that as a requirement while you're dropping a particular country or a course or a university for that matter. Right. So talking about the UK part, uh, what is this advantage of staying in UK? I would say, as I told you, USA has undisputed position in terms of the ranking, worldwide ranking. UK comes the next best country with a good chunk of top ranked universities coming from Oxford, Cambridge, King's College London, University of Manchester, Warwick, to Fairleigh, Glasgow, University of Leicester. There are quite a few big lists, and all of the UK universities are mostly public. Okay, US has top universities which are private as well as public, but UK is a strong ecosystem where it's all government funded universities, which sort of makes it even more attractive part for the fees would be on the lower side, and it sort of makes it makes it a good option to study in government funded college for your quality, plus not get cheated and also get your visas and all in place in a much better place. Great. What else would be the reasons to look at UK? The other one, I think, the ease of getting admits, right? I would not deny that. uh, like academically, let's say we generally tell at least look for a 65 percentage in your undergrad for USA to have a decent chance at getting good admits, right? Random admits, you'll get it. The goal is not to get some random university in any country, right? It should be to go to a university course where it makes sense for you to grow your career. As in, it should not be, the dream should not be that I land up in some random university. As long as I get out of my country to a new country, the world would be very what do you call it, very rosy for me outside India. Not really. People do struggle. So you have to understand that respect uh, the entire process and try to give your best so that you don't take it granted that okay, I can skip it, I can go without any exams, I can have low CG, I can have low academics, and still I can get some admit. People do get you admit, right? I'm not denying it. It's not rocket science to get admit from random universities. The challenge is to get you from the best possible universities where you have good ranking of the university, good scope for you to learn from the course curriculum and get job opportunities post that, stuff like that. But still, I would say if you're talking about a top university, a profile, the probability of getting, let's say, globally ranked 500 to 1000 in US, the same student can get in below 500 in UK, right? I'm talking about the global rankings, right? That's a comparative point I'm saying. It's much easier to get into UK for the same student with a similar profile than getting into similar ranked university in US. And they don't have many difference between 3 year and 4 year degree. Fundamentally, UK does 3 year bachelors, and that's why I think India also has a good amount of 3 year bachelors. Uh, and you can get admitted without GRE, GMAT, especially 90 to 95% of universities. Leaving the top universities, top programs, GMAT or GRE would be asked, but otherwise I also know a lot of universities, which not a lot, a good chunk of universities, which even take you from a medium of instruction part. That is, you don't need to take an English exam, IELTS, TOEFL, right? You can get on without them, but you get an unconditional offer. Sometimes they make it unconditional based on your percentage in 12. Sometimes they would ask you that get a required score in IELTS or TOEFL, and accordingly, we will give you an unconditional offer. But you can apply and get an admit for sure, even without an English proficiency test to a good number of universities in UK. The challenge would be to get an unconditional offer and take it forward to cash and visa, where they would ask you this condition, which makes it a condition for you to go through that to clear it. And it's a simple visa process, no visa interview. You have a good or higher probability of getting it approved. Only thing, UK government with Rishi Sunak is trying to be a little bit stricter on students trying to get into the bottom pile of the universities, right? Where they believe the reason for them to come is not actually study, but rather to get their family migrated and work and sort of settle down there. And they're sort of being stricter on that. So they have cut the dependence part. You cannot get your dependence along with you as a student, right? From the coming intake. It's, I think the last is the January intake. Beyond that, they are not allowing it. Also, they might come down with the stricter rules of not giving visas for lower ranked universities. As long as you're getting into globally ranked and appreciated universities, you will not have a problem. But a lot of students are going for the lower ranked universities, which not really helps them, the students, as well as the UK economy and government, which is why they are being stricter on that. So, this I'll give you an answer at the end. As in, what do I prefer personally? But I'll first let me run through all, and then I'll take up questions at the end. So I'll also give my 2 cents for everyone. So, what about the other advantage of UK part? I think UK is the one country which offers you a shorter duration of courses, right? I think 1 year post graduation courses is heavily seen in UK. Then they also offer something called placement here, which is something I haven't seen in abundance in other countries. Very few, if at all, if I've seen, they would give you something like, you will do a 1 year course. The second year of your course is entirely an internship. They call it, industry placement, placement year, sandwich course, stuff like that. There are quite a few names for it, where they would say that we would prepare you with your resume, will help you to get an internship with a very high probability, and you will work for 1 year, 9 months, 6 months over there, through which you will be getting small stipend also paid out. You will get exposure towards industry, and also it's part of your course, which means, let's say I've done 1+1, right? 1 year of taught course, as in learning academics, and 1 year of internship. It's a 2 year course for me, and the second year fees would be generally 2 to 3 lakhs only, very small amount. And anyways, your stipend would also pay out for that. At least it's not a big amount. Then you would be getting another 2 years of post-study work visa. So technically, you're getting 2+2, 4 years of visa right at the time when you're getting into the University of UK if you take a placement year. So, for example, if I look at this University of Leicester, right? So maybe I'll just click on it. I just wanted to show us a sample. Okay, why am I? This is not showing. Just give me a second. Just copy it. Hyperlinks can be harmful. Okay. So, mm, I'm stuck for some reason. Just give me a second. Close all. What I'll do. Discard it. Perfect. Okay, so I was just trying to show you the University of Leicester course. So let's go there. Open the hyperlink. This is just one example I'm showing you. You can obviously find I think it's already open. Okay, I didn't see this. So this is they're talking about Master of Engineering Management. It's like for engineers to get into management. It's an hybrid course. So if you see this, they're saying it's a 1 year, 12 months course, but you also get to do for one more year by doing an internship. That's why they call this MEM with industry, right? That's industry placement part. There are some basic subjects you will do accounting, the basic economics, project management, international business systems, engineering, etc. So then you have this, see, just the MEM, just a 12 to 16-month course, and then with an industry year where you're going to do an extra internship, which is going to be another 1 year. So there you'll also find them writing about how they would help you for the placement year. That these modules are only relevant with industry variant. The industry includes an industrial placement of between 3 to 12 months following the end of final exam period in the taught phase. That is, you are doing academic course. Placement students will return to the university after doing your internship, and then you will do some small dissertational project to complete your course, right? So this is technically a system they have pulled out so that you actually can get a better exposure towards your what do you call it, industry, because a lot of international students when they move to a new country find it hard to uh, search for a job purely because it's not easy to what do you call it, get that network, right? But when you are doing a placement here, it's fundamentally that you're being in an industry. You get an opportunity to talk and meet a lot of people from industry. You also get to learn real practical stuff, give you enough time to prepare and sort of also apply for jobs outside. And once you get the job, let's say after 6 months to 1 year you have done your first year and you realize that you don't need a placement here because you already figured out a job or you're confident enough, you can always drop out of this. They would only ask you to do some dissertation or quickly complete a couple of credits, and then you can do it in like less than a year. So this is something some people do. If students are interested, we also recommend they do 1+1 for your visa. But after you go there, you can drop off this so that you will be staying only for one, but you still get 1+1+2. That's like 4 year visa from UK, which lets you to actually stay for longer time and get a job and get more probability towards your PR. So UK also has an advantage of being on the lower budget. Since it's a 1 year degree, most of the universities you can comfortably do it at average of 13 to 15 lakhs for 1 year. If you're doing a 2 year course, if it's a placement year, you'll only pay 2-3 lakhs more. But if you're really doing a top university, a proper 2 year research course, maybe you have to pay 25-30 lakhs. Still, it's not super high as compared to US. The living expenses won't change much. It's more or less the same. But on average, UK universities give you at half the amount of tuition fee compared to US if you're even doing a 2 year course. But if you're talking about a 1 year course, it's going to be obviously considerable amount of difference in the tuition fee that you have to pay for it. Okay. Hiren, I think you're at the place where I'm not teaching the quant here. So either you're at the wrong place or yeah. Yeah. So I hope it was a mistake. What is PR, Himani? PR is permanent residence. It is what you need for any country where you are given without a worry a chance to settle down there, right? And there is not much for them to ask you to leave. Rest all visas that you hold to student visa or what do you call it, work visas of each country, H1B or subclass 485 general visas for all of these countries. They typically ask you have an expiry date beyond that you're supposed to leave the country. The permanent residencies are where you don't have to worry. You can comfortably stay back in that country, and you're not citizen. PR is one step beyond behind the citizenship, but you have enough comfort to comfortably stay there, own things, and not worry about expiring visas and run through what if tomorrow UK government or US government changes and they ask me to leave, right? That's what PR is fundamentally mean. Right, what are the popular specializations in UK? Yeah, I'll come there, Tarang. Business and management is heavily, favored in UK, be it public health specializations. I mean, we're talking about health management, right? Not the healthcare section as such. You're talking about analytics, you're talking about finance, you're talking about operations, supply chain, project management. They're all heavily, preferred for people to do their specialization in UK. Then healthcare, public health, and health informatics, and you're talking about pharmacy and all again is heavily compared to engineering and computer science, which is always number one in almost all the countries. Combined here, both, if you see this. Typically in US, I said computer science, 2 lakh people, engineering, another 2 lakh people. Here, both of them together is only 1,32,000, right? So that's why UK has a fairly more students who go. I'm talking about international students from different parts of the country who go because the opportunities are more tending towards the business and management, healthcare and life sciences. Right, social science is more of the political science, societal science and stuff like that. So not many would do from India generally, but yeah, that's again something that a lot of people go for UK for their higher education. The average salaries in UK are not as high as US. That's what I would definitely say. Around 50 lakhs, right? Software developer also 60. It's not as high as US, definitely on the on the lower side compared to obviously higher than India, is no doubt, but more or less will be there at 40, 50 lakhs as a starting salary for most of the roles uh, in UK. Talking about the visa part, which as I've asked, right? So student visa, you're called Tier 4 visa. Generally, as I said, it's a 2 year course. Let's say you get a 2 year plus post-study work visa of 2 years. So that lets you stay for 4 years in UK if you join UK, even not getting a job post your graduation. Beyond that, you are supposed to get a general visa, right? You're expected to move to a general visa. Generally, that's like H1B in US. It's not that difficult as a lottery sort of it. As long as you have a good job and good employer, you should ideally have a good probability to get a general visa. Post that, you get it up to 5 years. Within that, you have 2 years of post-study work visa and 5 years of general visa. So you get to stay for 7 years to work. Within 4 to 5 years, you can start applying for PR, and then you have to work for 5 years in UK. But post that, you are per year. Oh my god. Okay. Uh, this is annual salaries. Nowhere I'm talking about monthly salaries. Like if someone gives 58 lakhs per month in any country, like I think that's like the best country everyone should go. So that's not what it is. Okay. We're talking about annual salaries. This is an average salary. See, don't. So if some of you might think that Indian software product companies, let's say Oracle, Microsoft, or Google's, are paying 30, 40 lakhs for freshers, right? I'm not denying that. This is an average salary. Treat it like a 10 lakh, 12 lakh sort of a salary in India. What an average person would get once they graduate from their higher masters or bachelors. So I'm talking more in those lines. Obviously, the FANG companies, if they exist in UK, would pay at a different level. You're talking about USA, they would be paying at 1.5 crores, 1.6 crores. You're talking about in UK, at least they should also be paying more than a crore for guy who ideally gets into a top position. See, business analytics is good everywhere, okay, not just in US or UK or anywhere. But in general, the best place to go for analytics, I would put it as USA. But I think you have fairly very good number of opportunities even in UK, Canada, Australia for business analytics. Purely from a course perspective, doing a computer science or analytics or information systems, I think you don't get wrong in any country. As long as you have fundamental skills, you'll get fairly paid well enough as per the standard of living over there or the average salary figures. So it's all about your skill. The jobs are definitely in good number that you don't have to worry about choosing a wrong course or a wrong country. But obviously, the salary figures are what they are for each country. So it's a choice that you have to choose what excites you, what prefers personally. Okay. So as I was telling you, 2 years of post-study work visa plus you get a general visa if you apply for it. It's up to 5 years. That is, you need a job by then, a good employer, good profile. Then you will get a 5 year visa. So once you work for at least 5 years in UK, then you are eligible to apply for PR, and you should get one, and you should figure out the next steps accordingly to settle down there. What about the Canada part, which is the next one? Uh, See, the reason why people go to Canada, so they have limited top universities. Okay, Canada has very small set of good universities that provide quality education as compared to US or UK for that matter. They have large number of colleges. Colleges are not universities. They offer diplomas, postgraduate diplomas. They are something more like a secondary institutions in Canada to offer to second set of students to get larger number of technical skill set or something like that. They have no difference between 3 year, 4 year degree. They are getting you an admit even with English proficiency tests. Simple visa process. Yes, competition is being there at peaks in last few intakes. Obviously, for especially universities, getting an admit is a big painful process, as in the time wise. I said ease of getting admits. It's for college I'm talking about, where you can get a quick turnaround time. If you're talking about an average college, again, if you're talking about a top college within the college also, you have to be quick in terms of applications. They offer PG diplomas. You have to understand they are not the proper masters. Especially if you come outside Canada, the value for it would be very, very limited. So if you are planning to go to Canada, to settle down in Canada, and you're okay to go with PG route, that's okay. Otherwise, if you want better quality of education, so my rule of thumb is go for college or PG diploma if you have confidence in your own skill set, because what you learn there will not really make a huge difference in your technical expertise, and it's hard to get a job right out of that. So better that if you hold some experience of at least 1 2 years in a technical skill set and you're confident of it, then it makes merit to go there. Otherwise, it's a risk. It's a calculated risk you can take. The ease of getting PR is why the craze for Canada is, right. So as I told you, I've talked about USA. You need to work for like long years to get eligibility for green card, which is the synonym for PR. UK also at least 5 years over there. You can get with as minimal work experience as just 1 year in Canada. No, for Canada. Actually, Canada is also letting you to get a PR, permanent residence, even by staying in India and directly applying for a job. I'm not denying, but from a student route, I'm talking about. So they have that CRS systems through which they give you points overall your work experience so far in and outside Canada. What was your English proficiency score? What was your college where you did your degree? What's your age? What are specializations you have done? What skill set you have? All things considered, they have the point system using which you have routes like Canadian experience class, federal skilled program, that is you're very skilled, that this is a special track, fast track. This is normal Canadian experience class with people with experience in working Canada for at least 1 year. Then this is provincial nominee program, which means there are provinces like states in US, right? British Columbia, for example, Ontario. So they ideally would have a different quota to take through the state route or province route. So you can apply for this also. There are obviously some technicalities in, inside it. I'm just being at a very superficial level. Understand there are quite a few routes through which you can get PR with a minimal as good as just 1 year of staying there. That's the reason why people are very crazy to go to Canada, despite the universities not being huge in number in the rankings, right? A lot of people go for colleges. That's obviously the reason, right? The fees of universities would be slightly less than US, but not much different. So you'll pay almost 25 30 lakhs for your 2 year degree if you're doing masters in university. But colleges can be done as low as 10 to 20 lakhs, right? For 2 years, I'm talking about. So I've just put a small amount for 1 year. See, some diplomas are for 1 year only, obviously. So the expenses won't change in almost all the countries. I see a very similar set of expenses. Uh, so what about the popular specialties in Canada? Again, as I told you, similarities in US, computer science, engineering, the analytics, and supply chain operations, project management for business management, finance, and the healthcare. Talk about pharmacy, public health, because all the developed nations fundamentally have a huge respect for this research part and public health management systems, healthcare institutions, and all. There's quite a few good opportunities and well-paid jobs. So there's a lot of people go there from especially developing nations. So what about the salaries? They're almost there on par with UK. Obviously, not below US, better than India for sure on average, but almost on similar lines of UK. That you get paid. Obviously, they pay a little bit higher for managers or some senior positions. I'm not denying it, but I think more or less you can expect a 45 50 lakh sort of an entry point for different domains that you're talking about in Canada. What is the process? As I told you, you will generally do a 2 year course, as I told you. Let's say you also can do a 1 year course, right? What I mean by that, as a diploma is there for 1 year also. If you do a 1 year diploma, you'll get 1 year post study work visa. They call it post graduation work program. If I do a 2 year degree, master's, I'll get 2 years extra. So whatever is the duration of your course is equal to the extra visa extension that you get to work, stay there and look for work, at least if you don't have a work. But if you work even for 1 year, as I told you, you can start looking for experience, Canadian experience class. If you have good skill set, you can try for federal, skilled programs, etc. So I'm not an expert in PR, so just understand what I'm trying to say is that it's easier with a shorter duration if you have things in place, because they have something called RSCRS. That's a point system they do, which is multiple factors included: your age, do you have dependents, do you have what master's bachelor's you do, where did you study this, right? Is it from IIT's good college in India, or is it from what university or college in Canada? What was your experience in India? What is your experience in Canada? All things considered technical specialization, they would give you a point system, and every year or every few months they keep releasing up to what point system they have made you eligible for PR sort of it. right? So no, Chaitanya, 4-year degree is not mandatory for Canada, right? For MBA, 4-year degree is not mandatory. Well, the recent issue of Indian Canada Swastika. So I think, see, I am not a person with what do you call it, ability to predict the future, but I have a confidence that it will not go to a level where it makes a huge fuss over next few months. Maybe a few days or weeks, it will just carry on as a political problem for both India and Canada. But I think Canada needs people from India or from developing nations, quality people to come there because they have shortage of workforce. That's why they have done all these rules. It might be a problem for maximum, let's say, worst case scenario this January, but beyond that, I don't think there will be a problem where even that shouldn't be there. It's a very small political stuff. I don't know unless it gets blown out of water and then something happens where everyone starts hitting India, starts hitting Canada, Canada starts hitting India back. Hopefully, I don't think that's going to happen. At least from what I've seen so far, this should be just a simple political game. Both of them are trying to win in their own community, Indian Modi and Canadian Trudeau. So I'm not going to get there, but I think you don't have to worry about it. In the worst case scenario, all you have to do is postpone your admit, defer it by an intake, and comfortably apply for visa, join there, and get through done, even if CAN intake is not a possibility. Okay, then Australia part. See, Australia, I would say, obviously, also like Canada has limited number of top universities. That's something that is obviously a problem again, but they are good. They are fairly good. The number of universities that you have in Australia are slightly more than Canada, but the top rankings are limited. But they are fairly good universities. They have good global rankings and they have good systems established over years with international students coming. So it's not as new as Canada in terms of accepting international students. They're slightly better than Canada, but not much of a difference. At least not close to USA and UK to an extent in terms of top quality universities. But the point is, the same profile can get into a better university in Australia than USA. So they don't have any difference between a 3-year, 4-year degree. Right, can get with simple English proficiency tests and the simple visa process with a good probability of getting approved. Especially since the COVID time, Australia saw a good downturn of the international students going to Australia. So they are trying to get more and more favorable rules in the recent times. I think just this year they've started giving slightly longer extensions to post-study work visa. It could be as good as just it was 2 years, but it is now letting can go up to 4 years based on what you did in your masters, what technical subjects you have done, and stuff like that. So it's very easy to get admitted to a good Australian university. Generally, I would tell you, as compared to let's say USA. But obviously, it is what it is. It's all about competition. So an university in Australia, whatever the number of applicants they get, they look for the best applications within that, and they try to choose the best candidate. So since the popularity of Australia is not as high as US or Canada or UK, so they would find it hard to get a lot of good applicants. So it's relatively easier to get into Australia for a similar profile as compared to let's say US or Canada for that matter. Then the international student expenses, as I told you, it's almost on par with USA. I wouldn't put it, it's obviously costlier than UK and Canada, and almost on par with USA for your total budget when you're looking to do your masters in Australia. The specializations again, they go with a similar set of computer science, engineering, business, and healthcare. Right, these are common everywhere. If you see, when I say healthcare, I include pharmacy, public health, and the life sciences include the biomedical engineering, not engineering, but by life sciences, biomedical science, etc. All of these together almost make up for 50% of the students, and this is where the job market is heavily inclined towards immigrants or rather everyone in the world. That's why people go for it, and these are the popular specializations even in Australia. And these are the average salaries. They're almost at 50 to 60 lakhs, maybe slightly better than UK and Canada if you look at the other figures that I've compared. But again, as I told you, you have to include the taxation and the cost of living. It's almost right. I would say USA gives you the best salaries, then the rest three countries, I wouldn't say there's a huge difference on an average level. The visa process, you first get a student visa, it's called subclass 500. Generally, you do a 2 years thing. As I told you, they were giving plus 2 years of post-study work visa subclass 485. But just in this year, they are, they have started to, give you an option where it is not yet implemented, as in, unless I think a couple of intakes are happening and people start graduating, you'll start seeing the effects of it. They're saying after you graduate, based on certain parameters, as in what was your specialization, what skill set you carry, they actually give you slightly more longer gap for you to get a post-study work visa for not just 2 years, but more than it can go up to 5 years is what they're saying. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 depends on certain factors, but it gives you more scope to work and also gives you more chance to look for a job and get an opportunity. Then you can apply for a skilled independent visa subclass 189. After you work for like 3 to 5 years, you are eligible to apply for PR. Again, Canada I think is relaxed in terms of PR compared to UK or US, but definitely not as easy as Canada in terms of the rules that they've set. So somewhere it sits slightly lower than Canada, but better than US and UK in terms of getting eligible for PR, right? Whatever this again, they also have a point system. They look at your English exam scores, your experience, your age, your specialization, a lot of factors, and accordingly they give you the score and accordingly give you whether you're eligible for PR or not accordingly. So quick comparison, which I would put, as I told you, this is where I would put my inputs, but also quickly what I would say is this. Quality of education, as I told you, purely from two aspects, I would put USA as the first, simply for a reason that they have the top universities, the highest number of top universities in the world, and then they always have good research because that sort of has a correlation with good ranking. So it sort of lets you get to do the state of art courses, right? New courses, new curriculums being added regularly as compared to other parts of the world. Then I think UK is where I'll put the next best one. I would put the Australia as the next best, and then I would put the Canada. Close between them. I would only say that Australia being more, larger and more. When I say larger, as in it has bigger universities with a bigger capability of students, and they've been accepting international students over years. Got good, relations with universities across the world. They got good research exposure as compared to Canada. So I would put just that for that reason. Admission chances, I think the easiest of the lot would be UK in terms of ease of getting admissions. Then I would put Canada if you're talking about colleges. Just saying for colleges, I would put it like the second. If I'm talking about universities, then I would put it as hard as UK. Right, just for universities, Canada would also come as hard as USA. Sorry, not UK, USA. Right, Australia would be also easier, but then comes the universities of Canada and universities of USA to get into a good university over there. The visa process, the easiest I would put is the UK, right? And then I would put the Australia because they are fairly simple and they don't have high rejection rates. As long as you have everything else in place, the basic fundamentals. The Canada would be third, and then comes USA because you also have a visa interview and you have to clear it and you have to answer it, and there's a lot of external luck factors also involved to an extent. Ease of getting PR, I think Canada sits first. That's the reason why people are crazy for Canada since the last 2 years. I don't know how strict they will be over a time because once they hit the target of immigrants, they may slowly slow down the acceptance of PR, maybe make it more stricter. But as of now, this is first. Uh, then I was talking about the ease of getting the Australia comes second. Then comes UK for the PR purpose, and then I would put the USA as the fourth. Sorry, some reason I can't write. Yeah, the cost of education, I think UK is the lowest, so that's why I'll put the first. Then Canada colleges, if you're talking about, even universities wouldn't be that high. Definitely Australia and UK, USA are almost the same level of cost, so I would put them at the third, fourth level. The career opportunities, USA sits at the first. There's no doubt about it. It gives you the best jobs, best salaries, and all of that. Within UK, Canada, and Australia, I wouldn't put much of a difference there. I would just put it commonly a second, right? Depends on certain specializations, certain countries have edge, but I think there's a clear difference or rather a gap between US and the rest of the three in terms of the opportunities and salaries. But I'm not saying they're bad. It's just that US is best across the world. Then the next best are these three across the world over the rest of the countries that we are looking at. Right. So this is my thing. So what do I suggest? I personally, if I have to go, if I would put anyone close in my family, I would say do hard work and then try to look for US because I believe USA has the best universities, the best courses, the best jobs, best opportunities, and it's the most diverse community of the students and working professionals, which lets you to give you the best output in terms of learning, growing, and seeing the professional career growing like that. So obviously, financially and then personally, it's very rewarding. If you are looking to go outside India, it should be for US. Then UK, Canada, Australia, it's a personal choice. Right. Obviously, depends on a lot of parameters as in your budget, what was your CGPA, right? Like UK accepts with a lower academic profile. Australia is stricter on it. Canadian universities are stricter on, like, let's say I have 10, 15 backlogs. You'll have it making hard for Canada and Australia admits. UK accepts a lot of these things, right? So all things considered, personally, you have to look at, you have done a 3-year degree versus a 4-year degree. So the probability is harder in USA. So you're looking to do management courses, maybe UK has edge over Canada and Australia for that matter. If you're looking for let's say IT courses, maybe Australia is an edge over UK. So all these things within comparison would depend on what you're trying to do, what's your budget, what profile do you carry, and stuff like that. So I would keep it, I'll leave it over here. What I would say is, I'll also ask you to try, if you're interested. We have built a tool in solutions, something called AI country recommendations. This is something that we have built based on the rules that I was talking about in terms of your backlogs. Let's say I want to do my master's in computer science and my budget is just, let's say, 20 lakhs. Okay. And I have done BTech in computer science in India, and my 4-year degree is what I've done, and my CG is, let's say, 5.9 out of 10, and I have 21 backlogs. Now, if I search, I would obviously say look at UK because they accept very poor CGPA and also very high backlogs. Let's say I become academically good in terms of my thing like 7.4 and I have only 2 backlogs, then I might see other countries like United States, Canada, universities that are accepting it. Let's say if I have a CG of 6.1, then I might not see Canadian universities, but I would see Canadian colleges. So all these things we have put into this so you can actually go to solutions and play out to see for yourself what are our recommendations from the model that you have built based on a lot of factors that I've discussed as an important factor, right? So yeah, that's it from my side. So I'll keep it okay. Okay, so one of the question is Tarang about the PR part. So I'll quickly say that if you're talking about for Australia, you need to work at least for 4 to 5 years in Australia to actually be eligible for PR. They would have their own point system based on your age, experience, and English proficiency scores, etc. They would tell you what sort of they give you a point system and then they are eligible for PR, or accordingly you have to wait and build things and get eligibility for PR. Similarly, for Canada, you just don't need more than a year of experience to really be eligible for PR, Canadian Express route, experience class, sorry, CEC. Then you can also, same point system they have. They would look at all the points of your age, experience, and all of that, and they would see, and you keep working and keep building your points, and then try to get a PR over there. The eligibility is at a much shorter duration of staying in Canada. That's why Canada has the edge in the terms of PR. When it comes to the UK, you need to work for 5 years in UK to be eligible for PR. And then when it comes to USA, ideally people work for with H1B over 6 years of time. They would somewhere find it close to the end of the 6 years that they would get the sponsor from employer to put them into green card process and hope for the best in terms of getting a green card. That's about the PR. Uh, okay, I missed few questions, I guess. What about the Ireland, Fatima? So I would say, see, Ireland, if I talk about the rankings, obviously there are very small set of universities in Ireland. Fundamentally, it's a small country, so you will find very limited top universities over there. The ease is much easier with an IELTS exam. You can get there. They are good for IT. There are companies of Google because of the tax haven. A lot of top tech companies are there, located there. You can get good tech jobs over there in Ireland. The pharmacy is good in Ireland. The public health is good in Ireland, right? So Ireland is good. The salaries would also be somewhere in euros, so which will be in the range of 50 lakhs, 55 lakhs. It's a sort of a socialistic country, so you will have a little bit of what they call, not socialistic, sorry, it'll have a little bit of tax haven being helps you in certain ways. But Ireland, I would put it, obviously easier to get in, easier to settle down as well. Similar to UK, the cost is not low. It would be on par with Australia, slightly less than Australia. As in, I would say you might have to think on expenses of 10 plus 10, 20 lakhs for 2 years, and a tuition fee of 20, 25 lakhs for 2 years, right? 40, 45 lakhs. Not as high as USA, but slightly similar to Australia and higher than UK and Canada. Which country to be best to do MBA? Also, if you want to settle there, which country would you recommend? See, I think settle down, which country is your choice. That's something, as I told you, the PR point is what people see. Every developed nation has its own pros and cons. Right? So I cannot comment on what is best for you. You can go through and understand, but you will not go wrong with either of these countries in terms of standard of living. The challenge is more in terms of an MBA, what exactly specialization you want to do. Is it operation supply chain? Then I think looking UK and Canada along with USA is a good place to go for. Right. Anything I would generally say USA is a good option, but if you don't want to go for USA, UK is also very known for management. Canada also has good scope for doing management in terms of project management, operations, supply chain. If finance is the thing, USA and UK are the places to go for. That's where all the companies are, right? So it all depends on what specialization you're looking for. For Naveen, I think I've answered that in terms of what would I prefer for finance. USA is my first preference. Next comes UK. Then comes Canada and Australia equally if I'm looking for MBA in finance. But again, I'm just telling without any other constraint in terms of what was your bachelor's, what's your CGPA, what's your budget and stuff like that. What's your exam scores, what's your profile. I'm just telling that assuming everything is good for every country, I would prefer USA first, then UK. Uh, which country is good for biotechnology, master's job opportunity? See, Kumaran, I think biotechnology USA is the place to go for. It has good R&D scope. A lot of companies do it, and I think USA is the place to go. I think UK and Canada are also good, but USA would be undisputed for me in terms of biotechnology, in terms of research, job opportunities, and the quality of education that you get. UK also has good universities. The research is also good in UK. The job opportunities wouldn't be as high in number, in USA as compared to yeah, in USA as compared to UK. Canada again. So I'm not sure what I want to explain for us. Maybe if you ask question, I'll be CGP required for Australia. I think Nakshatra, I would try to keep it more than 65%. 6.5, 65% is fairly a good CG to have for Australia, is what I would say. Anything above 7 with like backlogs less than 5, I think you are in a good shape to get a good admit from a university in Australia. That's my basic rule of thumb. But you can try with 60, 65% also, but that's the last point. If you have less than that, I think Australia is getting harder and harder for you to get an admit from a good university. Uh, Public health, Bharat. So I think public health is good in US. US is good for everything, but UK and Canada also have great scope in terms of public health. Especially UK has a good scope in terms of public health. So I see a good demand and sort of craze for people to go to UK for public health, healthcare administration, stuff like that. UK slide, Tarang, which UK slide you want? I don't know. I'm assuming you're talking about the visa part. So I'm just keeping it to there. Yeah. Can a BCom student go for business analyst? For us, I think you can go. The challenge is you have to show a reason why you deserve to get a seat over there, right? Any country for that matter. Have you done any diploma? Have you done any online certification courses? Do you have any experience in data part? At least, some basic programming experience. You should have done advanced mathematics like calculus, probability, and statistics in your undergrad subjects because that's a requirement again for business analysts. If you don't have them, the alternative is to at least do a diploma, some online certification. When I say at least Coursera, edX sort of open source courses that you could do from universities in USA, at least even if you don't get a certificate, if you can talk about them and if you have any certification experience internships, you can talk about them to make it a reason to apply. But people do get in. I'm not saying you cannot, but for you to make a good application and a good chance to get in there, you need to give a reason why you have interest and what have you done with your fundamentals to make sure you can pick up things once you join the course. Tax of each country, Niveda, it's a very tricky part, I would say. I mean, it depends on what do you call it, uh, the slabs, right? Like how India doesn't have a thing. So maybe I'll just show you this, right? It's a fairly good website, I would say. If you just go here on personal income, PwC is that auditing company. Let's say I'm talking about United States. Obviously, United States has state tax and central tax. So the federal tax, it's going to be different. But then they're saying up to what amount you have, accordingly, what's your tax slab? It goes as high as 40%, right, for US. If you're talking about a very high salary, but let's say an average salary of this and this, you're talking about 25%. I'm not sure if it's both federal and state, because state taxes will vary from right? So I am assuming it's more at the federal level for United States. United Kingdom, I think, has the higher tax slab, if I'm not wrong. Let's see this. Uh, yeah, they're going as high as 45%, but mostly will be say in the 20 to 40%. Because as I told you, you will get more than 37,000 pounds for an average entry position, hopefully. So then you would be somewhere, you'll be under this higher slab. So 40% is the highest you can see uh, across the countries. Then you're talking about uh, Canada. I think Canada also has around 20 to 30% sort of it. Australia has a 19 and 37% sort of slab. So yeah, 20 to 30% is what Canadian taxes are, which is something like Indians think, but we would be somewhere 20 to 25 generally, because of 100,000 Canadian dollars salary I'm talking about. Then Australia, as I told you, they have this 19% slab and then 37% slab, I think, which would be the two slabs where you might be getting somewhere in 19 to 30% sort of a range for your salary. Right, so as well, UK gives you the highest tax. I mean, takes highest tax. The rest all are the 20 to 30% slab, which is similar to what you see in India. Best to do MBA, also if you want to settle there, which country? Actually, I think I've answered this. I was telling you that MBA US is thing for me everywhere. Then UK is also equally good, and then comes Canada for me for MBA. Specialization is what matters, but generally, if you talk about project management, operations, supply chain, logistics, finance, which is where a lot of Indian or international students should go for, not for the marketing, HRs, which are not really easy to get a job and crack and settle down there. I would obviously look at these courses, which are US, UK, Canada is my order to get a seat, join, and also complete. But make sure if you're doing USA, it's a STEM course. Okay, MBA should be a STEM course. Otherwise, you'll find it hard to get a job and then get your H1 and all picked. Okay, Swastika, I'll try to do that. But we need time. I cannot commit that we'll do it in like a day or a week because we need to add a lot of courses and models for that based on the data. So PhD is something that and law specialization something we didn't do, but we'll try to do something on it. Uh, okay. Germany good for public health. Germany, I think its language is a challenge, Kapil. So Germany is good because of its low cost. If you are getting into public university, Germany is good if you can bear with German language. The opportunities all need you to be good with German, right? So that's a big learning curve for people to have. But the fees is low because if you get into public university, if you're not getting into public university, I would not recommend Germany. That's my basic rule of thumb. If you can get into Germany with a public, university which reads at least 75-80%, then I think you are in a good place in terms of financially not spending a lot. But German tax is also 40-45%. It's a socialistic country. You have to pay huge on insurance and taxes. So you'll not save a lot like US or UK, Canada to an extent, but definitely you'll also get a lot of government support. PR is also relatively easier as compared to USA, UK. So that's the pro and con for Germany in general. Yes, the initially MBA in USA needs definitely 2 years of experience in top universities, top universities like Harvard, Stanford, or at least the top 50, 100 for sure. Otherwise, in UK and Canada, it's not really a big requirement to do an MBA. The experience is not a big requirement. Okay, I don't know why I moved from UK, Tarang. Maybe I will share the recording also, Tarang. So don't worry, you can go back and comfortably, take a screenshot of it if required. Disha, I think Australia, I have the only issue with Australia is that it costs you as high as US, but it does not give you opportunities as good as US, be it the quality of education and the job opportunity. That's why I do not put it in the top bracket. Australia has no edge other than if you say I have a personal preference because of family or whatever the personal belief that you carry on it. Analytics will not make you go wrong in terms of choosing analytics. Okay, if you have the right skill, I can assure you in Australia also you'll get great number of opportunities for analytics or computer science and data science. Right, these three are the CSIT plus analytics. I would say you don't have to worry if you have a reason to go to Australia, which is other than the budgets and all I've discussed. You can go for it and you will comfortably get a job provided you have the right skill. And also the work visa rules are getting more relaxed for Australia in the recent times. Maybe we'll see the impact of it in 1 2 years down the line, where it might make it more attractive for people to look at. So fairly not a bad choice to look for. And then you just have to go to our website. At the top, you will see something called solutions. So you just have to, play with this AI country recommendation. We also have course recommendation based on what you did in your bachelor's, what masters you can do, and what are the average salaries and stuff like that. We have put all of this. So it's in solutions. You just click on it and you can fill your details and you will get the answers from the AI. CGPA, I have already answered Nakshatra. So at least 65%, 65% is bare minimum, I would say Australia, but 70 and above is what I would treat as you got a good chance to get into a good university in Australia. Uh, Swastika, generally, if you talk about law, right, the challenge is UK law is very similar to Indian law, as you must be knowing. So that's one edge UK has. But USA, is something that some people go where they have to understand, sort of de-understand, sort of unlearn and then learn a lot of things for US government law and all. So if it's something that you're excited, USA is good to go, but otherwise UK is something, it's an easy transition. Right. For PhD, the challenge is again USA universities offer a lot of free, what do you call it? You get a stipend, you be an assistant for prof, and you can get a lot of discount on the tuition fee. And being literally free, that's an important aspect for you to look for if you're going for a PhD. So US, then maybe UK. US, because US university PhDs are more structured, but they are longer. UK PhDs are shorter or easy to complete compared to US. And the law of UK is obviously much closer to India because you're built on top of them, or rather use that as a basic framework. It makes it easy for you to transition and get a chance to crack a PhD opportunity in UK. So that way, I think you can look at these two and then take a call accordingly. Maximum scholarship for us, I think you have to understand the end goal is not scholarship. The end goal is how much is going out of my pocket. USA gives you a lot more scholarships than the other countries, but that's also because they charge you the highest across the other countries. So for me, the net end goal wise, the lowest fee on your pockets comes from UK, then Canadian colleges, then comes the Canadian universities and Australian universities, then comes USA, right? So don't look at scholarships, because what do scholarships do? They'll give you a discount on the fee, right? At the end of the day. So what you should look at is, let's say Stevens Institute of Technology in US gives you, they charge you around 70, 80 lakhs and they give you 15, 20 lakh scholarship, but you still have to pay 60 lakhs. It's not a small amount, right? So what is my scholarship is not the deal. What is the amount I have to bear out of my pocket after scholarship is the deal. So in that order, I said UK comes the best way in terms of being on the lower on your pocket or lighter on the pocket. Then the Canadian colleges, Canadian universities, Australian universities, then US universities. Right, if you're talking about top 50 universities, your backlog should be anywhere across the world should be less than five, maybe 0 to 3, 4. It's acceptable. Anything more than that, you start getting more and more difficult to really make them look at you and appreciate you. Thank you, Kumaran. GMAT. Yeah, Aishwarya, you can do without GRE, GMAT. MBA without them, but I would say it will make it harder and harder for you the moment you start. UK, you can definitely do without GRE, GMAT. Canada as well as Australia without GRE, GMAT, leaving the top 10-15% of universities over there. USA, you find it more harder to find universities which don't ask for GMAT or GRE. Maybe I would say half of them don't ask, the other half ask in USA for GRE or GMAT. But UK, Canada, Australia, you can comfortably get to find universities, good universities, leaving the top 10-15% to apply for without GRE or GMAT. But CGPA would stay the same. Public health depends on country, so I don't know which country you're talking about. But again, my rules of thumb would be maintain at least 60-65%. For USA or Australia, we are the highest in terms of expectation. But better CG to have is 7 and above. But for UK and Canadian colleges, you can do with less than 65% also to an extent. 60%, 65%, you can still try for good universities. Canadian universities definitely need more than 7. They are strict, hard to get in, so lesser in number and hard to get in, so you need a better CGPA. No, Tarang. It's Canada where the course duration is equal to your work visa duration. UK typically gives you 2 year work visa, post study work visa, irrespective of you do a 1 year or 2 year course. But typically, if you do 1+1 placement year, which was what I was explaining, you get 4 years of overall visa, where you would do 1 year of internship plus 2 years of work, which is fairly a good chance for you to get more industry exposure and get that work visa, general visa, and then try for your PR. So the scholarships, I would say the same. It's all about what fee you get. The scholarships are more culturally seen in USA compared to UK, Canada. UK gives you 2-3 thousand pounds. That's a very common scholarship that I see, but that's like cutting down 10% of your fees, not like 50% sort of a scholarship. You do get 2 to 3 thousand pounds. Getting 10 to 15% of your fees down is common in UK. USA gives you, if they give you scholarship, they don't give everyone. UK gives to almost a good number of students if they like very above average profile for them. But USA being very specific, but they give you top scholarships if you get one. Uh, Fee waiver, USA universities have high fees, so you have to either apply with fee waiver, like through us, for example, if you have partnered some which waive it. UK more or less are free or very limited fees. You can apply fund very comfortably with a very low investment, like as low as 0 or 10-20 pounds. If you have to pay by chance, mostly you will not have to spend a lot for UK in terms of application fee. Rohit, two backlogs shouldn't be a deal breaker, but there's a lot more to getting into a top university than just the backlog CGPA, right? I don't know, but that shouldn't be a hindrance. Two is okay. That unless maybe you might find one, two universities of 20 who are very specific about it. Rest all should be okay with it. You should have strong academics, strong research, strong profile, strong exam scores to make it a top university. Nashita, Australian job opportunities, I would generally put it, it wouldn't be as good as US. Then comes Canada, UK, and then comes Australia for me. I'm talking about just the abundance of opportunities in general. But they have good number of opportunities. Definitely, people do get good jobs in Australia. It's a matter of your skill set, right? India also offers good jobs, right? It's not that India doesn't. So, but not everyone gets a job. So don't. I would not say that everyone who goes to US or UK, Canada, Australia also gets a job. They take time, they fight hard, and they would make it somehow in a year, 2 years. But being that post-study work visa long enough gives scope for you to get a job. So Australia also have good jobs, not a problem. Construction management, Nivada, I think I would put the same way. USA is always the best, then Canada, then UK for me. Simply for reason, civil construction is where you have large infrastructure work happening. All the developed nations have equally good opportunities because they constantly keep building the infrastructure. So you will not have to worry about it. It's just that salaries are higher in USA in general. That's why I put USA. Otherwise, it's not go wrong with them. US, UK, Canada should be fine. So I think I've answered all of them. Yeah, the necessary. So technically, when you do 1 + 1, 2 years, it's treated as a 2 years degree. You would be doing a 6 to 9 month internship, which would also have some credits, and you have to come back after doing internship and do a last 2 3 months dissertational project. That's when you complete your course, and that's when you are graduating from it. So they treat it as a 2 year degree only. But you understand that you won't do coursework, rather you would do internship to get more practical experience. That's what is 1 + 1 industry experiences. Cool then. Thanks a lot, guys. It was great talking to you. Hope this session was very useful for all of you. We are doing a loan event next week, so I hope that most of you, if possible, can attend because it helps us to really, get more and more people from outside to really interact with students, be it from universities, be it from these companies, loan companies, and ETS and all of that, the GRE, IELTS, TOEFL people. So it helps you also to really get more chances to talk to the direct representatives. So next week we are doing a loan mela where we are getting the loan representatives from different banks and NBFCs. So try if you are interested to go for next two intakes, spring or fall. It's even more helpful for you to understand the process. What's the chance of getting loan for your profile, and that should help you to plan your own study abroad journey, right? So that's it from my side. Thank you and have a good weekend and see you soon. All the best and goodbye. I'll end this session. So you'll also get access to recording. So yeah, that's it from my side, guys. Thank you. Good to end for everyone.